Loving yourself at every age is a lifelong journey that requires patience, understanding, and intentionality. From the innocence of childhood to the wisdom of old age, the process of self-love transforms with each passing year. As we grow and evolve, and so do our needs, our insecurities, our dreams, and our self-image. The way we love ourselves at 5 is vastly different from how we must love ourselves at 50 or 80, yet the core essence remains the same: accepting who we are, appreciating our journey, and treating ourselves with compassion. When we're young, we are often taught to seek validation from others, parents, teachers, peers, but rarely are we taught to validate ourselves. A child may learn that good behavior earns praise, and in turn they equate being good with being loved. This conditioning can create a foundation for self-worth that is rooted in external approval rather than internal contentment. Teaching children to love themselves starts with allowing them to express who they are freely and reassuring them that they are worthy, regardless of achievements or failures. Affirmations, encouragement, and emotional safety help develop a healthy internal voice. As children enter adolescence, the challenges to self-love increase exponentially. The puberty brings changes that make teens self-conscious, and the pressure to fit in, the bombardment of social media, and the internal questioning of identity all play a role in how teens perceive themselves. It is at this age that self-love often starts to falter, but it is also a crucial time to instill the practice of self-acceptance, encouraging teens to explore their interests, to accept their bodies, and to be kind to themselves during failures can reinforce the foundation of self-love. Self-love during adolescence also means resisting the urge to compare. Teens who are constantly comparing themselves to filtered images and curated lifestyles on social media may feel inadequate. Teaching them to recognize the illusions of perfection and to celebrate their uniqueness helps build resilience and authenticity. In our 20s, life feels full of promise, yet it's often the decade of confusion, insecurity, and comparison. We're trying to figure out who we are, what we want, and how we fit into the world. The pressure to succeed, to look a certain way, and to follow a timeline can lead to anxiety and self-doubt. Loving yourself in your 20s means giving yourself permission to not have everything figured out. It means embracing the messiness, the uncertainty, and the mistakes as valuable parts of growth. This decade is about exploration. Trying new things, failing, and learning are all part of becoming who you're meant to be. Being kind to yourself during this process is essential. To speak to yourself the way you would to a friend who is struggling. Offer grace, forgiveness, and encouragement. Self-love in your 20s also means setting boundaries, knowing when to say no, knowing your worth in relationships and careers, and not settling for less than you deserve. As we enter our 30s, we begin to settle into ourselves more. There is often a deeper sense of self-awareness. Yet this is also the age where many people face the harsh expectations of society. Whether it's marriage, children, or career success, the pressure to achieve certain milestones can make people question their worth if they haven't reached them. Loving yourself in your 30s means accepting your timeline. Not everyone's path looks the same, and that's okay. Self-love here involves focusing less on where you think you should be and more on honoring where you actually are. It's about finding joy in your unique journey. For many, their 30s bring physical changes as well. Metabolism slow, bodies shift, and energy levels may wane. Rather than criticizing these changes, self-love encourages embracing them. Your body is a vessel that carries you through life. It deserves appreciation, not condemnation. Practicing self-care, eating well, moving your body in ways that feel good, and resting when needed are acts of self-love that become more important than ever. Emotionally, self-love in your 30s means healing. Many people begin therapy or other forms of emotional work at this age, uncovering childhood wounds and learning to reparent themselves. This is a powerful form of self-love, choosing to face your past so you can create a healthier future. The 40s are often a transformative decade. People begin to reflect on what truly matters, letting go of external validation and embracing internal peace. It's a time when many reassess their careers, relationships, and life choices. Self-love in your 40s means allowing yourself to grow and change without shame. It's okay to reinvent yourself. In fact, it's often necessary. Maybe you spent your earlier years pleasing others, chasing perfection, or ignoring your own needs. Your 40s offer a chance to break those patterns. Self-love now is about claiming your power, speaking your truth, and living authentically. It's also about forgiving yourself for past decisions. We all make choices based on what we knew at the time. Beating yourself up for who you were doesn't help you become who you want to be. Instead, offer compassion to your past self and gratitude for the lessons learned. As we enter our 50s, many people experience what is often called the second act. Children may be leaving the house, careers may shift, and the body may change more noticeably. This can be a time of both liberation and loss. Loving yourself in your 50s means honoring your wisdom. You've lived 5 decades, you've seen, endured, and achieved much. That deserves celebration. Self-love in this stage is about deepening your relationship with yourself. Spending time alone, exploring hobbies, and reconnecting with forgotten playing dreams can reignite your spirit. It's also about being gentle with your body. Menopause, joint aches, and fatigue may appear, but so does a new appreciation for what your body has carried you through. Instead of mourning youth, self-love invites you to celebrate endurance, strength, and grace. Emotionally, the 50s can be a time of reevaluation. It may mean letting go of toxic relationships, rediscovering intimacy with your partner, or building new communities. Surrounding yourself with people who reflect your values and uplift your spirit is a vital form of self-love. The 60s often bring retirement, grandchildren, and a slowing down of life's pace. This shift can be both beautiful and unsettling. For some, identity may feel threatened, especially if career define their worth. Self-love in your 60s means recognizing that your value doesn't diminish with age. You're not less important because you're no longer producing. In fact, you may finally have the time and space to nurture parts of yourself that were long neglected. Creative pursuits, travel, mentorship, and spiritual growth become powerful sources of joy and meaning. Physically, loving yourself may mean adapting. You might need to move slower, rest more, or accept new limitations. That doesn't make you less, it makes you human. Listening to your body and honoring its needs is a sacred act of self-respect. Emotionally, the 60s invite you to release regrets. You cannot change the past, but you can choose how you carry it. Self-love means making peace with your younger self, with your choices, and with life's imperfections. This peace becomes a source of profound inner freedom. In the 70s and beyond, self-love becomes less about doing and more about being. It is about presence, about savoring simple moments, about recognizing the beauty in your wrinkles, the depth in your stories, and the strength in your survival. You become a living archive of wisdom, and loving yourself means honoring that. Many elders find joy in guiding others, sharing their experiences and leaving a legacy. This is a form of self-love, too. Knowing your life mattered and continues to matter, your words, your energy, your example, they all leave an imprint. Even as the body continues to age and the pace of life slows, your soul shines brighter. Self-love in the later years also involves asking for help when needed. There is no weakness in needing support. In fact, receiving with grace is just as noble as giving. Loving yourself means knowing you are worthy of care, attention, and love until your very last breath. Across all ages, one of the most powerful truths is that self-love is a practice. It's not a destination you arrive at, but a habit you cultivate. Some days it's easy, other days it's not. That's okay. What matters is returning to yourself over and over again with kindness. Self-love is not vanity, it's not arrogance, it's the quiet knowing that you are enough, that you are valuable, that your life matters. When you love yourself, you create a foundation for everything else: relationships, work, health, joy. Without self-love, even the most beautiful experiences can feel hollow. With it, even the mundane becomes meaningful. You deserve to love yourself, not just at your best, but especially at your worst. Not just when you succeed, but especially when you stumble. Not just when others approve of you, but especially when they don't. Because your worth isn't contingent on performance, appearance, or praise. It's inherent, it's eternal, and it grows deeper with every age. As you move further into your later years, the concept of self-love takes on an even more profound meaning. It shifts from external validation to an inward serenity that radiates from a life lived with intention and grace. At this stage, loving yourself means reflecting without judgment, understanding that every choice made along the way was a necessary step in your evolution. The process of aging often brings clarity that youth obscured, a clarity about what truly matters, who you are, and what brings you peace. Self-love in this phase means embracing solitude as a sanctuary rather than a sentence. Many people fear being alone, especially in older age, but those who cultivate self-love often find solitude rich with insight and tranquility. They begin to cherish their own company, understanding that being alone doesn't equate to being lonely. Instead, it becomes a time to listen to one's own voice, appreciate the simplicity of life, and engage in quiet acts of self-nourishment. These may be as simple as morning walks, writing in a journal, enjoying a cup of tea while watching the sunrise, or listening to music that stirs old memory. At every age, and especially in advanced age, the mind can become either a sanctuary or a prison depending on how we treat ourselves. Negative self-talk, guilt from the past, or regrets about paths not taken can all weigh heavily unless addressed with compassion. Loving yourself here means talking to yourself gently, forgiving your flaws, and celebrating your courage. It means acknowledging your fears without letting them define you. It means saying, "I did the best I could," and truly believing it. At this point, the definition of beauty also changes, no longer confined to youth, shape, or external features. Beauty is redefined through the eyes of wisdom, kindness, and resilience. The creases on your face become lines of laughter, of pain endured, of life fully lived. The body, though changed, is honored as the vessel that carried your spirits through decades of triumph and trial. To love yourself at this stage is to look into the mirror and smile, not because you see perfection, but because you see truth. It's also a time to celebrate your voice, speak your stories, share your lessons, and leave a legacy not only in wealth or name, but in kindness, perspective, and love. Writing letters to younger generations, engaging in meaningful conversations, or simply being a quiet example of dignity and strength all become acts of self-love and contribution. Mentorship becomes a powerful form of love, not just for others, but for yourself. It's proof that your journey has value beyond the years. Self-love in older age also means maintaining hope and purpose. Even if physical ability diminishes, the capacity for love, creativity, humor, and impact remains. Learn something new, whether it's painting, learning a new language, playing an instrument, or gardening. Engaging in creativity fuels the spirit and keeps the heart young. Staying curious and open to life, no matter your age, is a supreme act of love. And while the past may tug at your heart and the future may be uncertain, loving yourself means choosing to remain present. Right now is where life happens. Right now is where you can still smile, still feel joy, still offer a kind word, still chase a dream. It is never too late to become the person you always wanted to be, not through grand achievements, but through small acts of courage and kindness toward yourself. Across every stage of life, loving yourself also includes taking care of your health. This doesn't mean striving for a certain weight or appearance. It means listening to your body's needs, fueling it with good food, moving it in ways that feel joyful, and resting when needed. Health is an expression of love, not an aesthetic pursuit. It also includes caring for your mental health, seeking help when you're overwhelmed, talking about your feelings, and practicing mindfulness. Mental wellness is not a luxury, but a necessity. Loving yourself means prioritizing your peace. It means knowing when to let go of toxic people, outdated beliefs, unnecessary obligations. It means decluttering your life emotionally and spiritually to make space for what truly nourishes you. Forgiveness, especially, is vital, not just of others, but of yourself. Whatever mistakes you made, whatever pain you've carried, loving yourself means allowing healing. The burden of unhealed pain grows heavier with time, but letting it go frees your spirit to embrace joy again. Loving yourself at every age also means being honest about your needs. You are allowed to need affection, companionship, acknowledgement, and rest. Speaking your needs without shame is a powerful affirmation of self-worth. You do not need to prove your value through productivity or self-sacrifice. You are valuable simply because you exist. Relationships change over the decades. Some fade, others deepen. Loving yourself means not measuring your worth by your relationship status. Whether single, married, divorced, or widowed, your ability to love yourself remains vital. Romantic love is beautiful, but it is not the only kind of love. The love you give yourself is the foundation upon which all other love is built. And then there's grief. Loving yourself means allowing space for loss, not just of people, but of dreams, abilities, and phases of life. Every loss deserves mourning, but self-love holds your hand through that grief, offering the reminder that even in sorrow, you are whole. You are still worthy of joy, laughter, and light. One of the deepest forms of self-love is knowing you are enough, even when the world tells you otherwise. This means not needing to constantly fix, improve, or perform. Growth is beautiful, but not because it makes you more lovable. It is beautiful because it brings you closer to your truest self. You can love yourself while growing, but don't withhold love until you've grown. You deserve it now. Each stage of life presents new challenges to loving ourselves. The key is to meet those challenges with grace. In childhood, self-love means innocence and trust. In adolescence, it means resilience against comparison. In your 20s, it's permission to explore. In your 30s, it's accepting your pace. In your 40s, it's embracing reinvention. In your 50s, it's honoring wisdom. In your 60s and beyond, it's celebrating presence and legacy. Self-love is not a one-size-fits-all practice. It evolves with you. What worked in your 20s may not work in your 60s. Be flexible, be gentle, adapt. You do not need to be perfect to be loved, especially not by yourself. You only need to be willing. Willing to see your worth, willing to forgive your flaws, willing to nourish your soul, and willing to choose yourself over and over again. In a world that constantly tells you to be more, do more, and give more, self-love is the radical act of saying, I am enough. It is not selfish, it is sacred, because when you love yourself, you show others how to love themselves. You become a beacon. You radiate a quiet confidence that says, I belong here, I matter. And you do. No matter your age, no matter your past, no matter your doubts, you are worthy of the love you so freely give to others. Start today. Look into the mirror, into your heart, into your life, and whisper the words you may have never heard. I love you. Say them again tomorrow. Say them even when they feel untrue. Say them until they soften the hardened places in your soul, until they become a song you sing to yourself every day, until they echo in every step you take. Because loving yourself at every age isn't just a practice, it's a promise to never abandon yourself again, a promise to show up for yourself in the way you always wanted others to, a promise to hold yourself through every high and low, and most of all, a promise to live, not just exist, but live fully, joyfully, and authentically. No matter how many candles are on your cake, no matter what your reflection shows, you are worthy, you are enough, and you are loved.